Hello and welcome. My name is Bana. Today I'm offering 1 hour of yin practice. We're going to take it really easy, and I've themed this class around the earth element, so connecting to that beautiful being who supports and nourishes us in all ways, to gravity and to that sense of grounding. You might like to have on hand a couple of pillows and a blanket. These are in place of more formal yoga props, which not everyone has. So you're really welcome just to gather those things that'll make you feel really comfortable and maybe support your body in different ways throughout this practice. I'm going to offer a range of different options, but if none of those options work for you, no worries. They're not the only options. So please choose the shapes and the movements that are going to feel really good and nourishing for you. The purpose of yoga is not to strive or strain. It's simply to be with ourselves as we are in the moment. So do what you need to do in order to find that real release and allowing within. We'll begin simply by honoring and acknowledging the land itself on which we're practicing, soon as we're about to enter into a contemplation of earth element. So you can, if you like, close your eyes. You don't have to, maybe gazing softly ahead and just sensing gravity, sensing that connectivity between your body and the earth. And in acknowledging the earth, we can also honor those peoples of the lands on which we're practicing. For some of you, that may be indigenous tribes local to the region. For me, here in the Czech Republic, that's European Slavic peoples, the Bohemian folk of the southern region of Czech Republic. And we can also honor and acknowledge the lineage of yoga, this practice that we're undertaking, which, when we trace it back to its origins and its people of origins, this practice has a very strong connectivity with earth, with nature. Yoga intends to draw us closer to our own nature and to the interconnectedness of all things, to interbeing. So we honor and acknowledge all of the teachers, all of those facilitators and practitioners throughout the ages who've stayed true and close to the intentions of awareness, expansion of consciousness, interconnectedness, and unity. And so if you've had your eyes closed, you might like to gently blink them open now. And we can take on our first shape, which will be more of a relaxation shape so that we can enter into that sense of grounding. I'm going to invite you to bring your feet together if that feels comfortable for your hips and knees. And you can have those feet either closer or further away from your pelvis, depending on what works for you. And then placing your upper limbs behind you, maybe lowering towards the ground. And this is a place where you might like to draw some pillows underneath your thighs or your knees to find a little bit of support. And taking the time you need to support yourself fully so that you can yield and release, relax your legs, your hips, your lower back, pelvis, And perhaps, if you like, you might like to check in with the points of contact between the ground and your body. You might be feeling the outsides of your feet and your ankles. Maybe noticing where your legs connect with either your supporting props or the earth. And feeling the way that your sacrum, that lowest bony part of your spine, is settled on the ground. You could be noticing what parts of your back connect to the floor and which do not. Maybe noticing your shoulder blades, the backs of your arms, elbows, hands. And just sensing into the highest point in your shoulders, which is in connection to the floor. And also the lowest point of the back of your head. And then feeling, if you want to, all of these points simultaneously. Noticing the weightiness of gravity as your body lands on and sinks towards the earth. And if there's space within you to yield a little more to that sense of gravity, you might do so. Perhaps using a really relaxed sighing out breath. I'd encourage you, if it feels right for you, to use this open-mouthed sigh at any point during our yin practice today. The sigh facilitates our parasympathetic nervous system. It's like a switch putting our body into that rest, relax, repair mode. And the vibratory sound-making element of the sigh also affects our vagus nerve quite deeply. So we can really access release, restoration, and softening with the use of an elongated, slightly audible exhalation. If you want, you can try a few more of these in your own time. And so perhaps you're feeling ready to shift. If that's the case, you could always bring your hands towards your legs to support them up. And maybe removing any props that you had nearby out to the sides of your mat. You could lengthen out your lower limbs, maybe even lengthening through your upper limbs and finding a bit of a expansion or stretch through your body Noticing how this shifts the points of contact with the earth. And then relaxing and releasing. For our next shape, I'm going to invite you just to reach towards either elbow with the opposite hand, if that's available to you, and if not, that's okay, just allowing your upper limbs to rest above your head or in another comfortable position. Then we could take our left lower limb out to one side, bringing our left elbow in that same direction, creating a bit of a side bend through the right half of our body. If it feels good, maybe you send both of your lower limbs over to the left, And you're welcome to even cross your right foot over your left. Maybe taking a sigh or two to relax and release here. You could be sensing into your right hip, your right rib cage. And again, I invite you to bring your awareness to the points of contact between the earth and your body. Noticing where they are, mapping them out in your mind. And there's that gravitational pull, the way the earth element facilitates our yielding closer and closer over time, naturally and easily, with very little effort. We can soften into the ground. And perhaps here you'd like to sense the way the earth element manifests within your own body. The solidity, groundedness, perhaps you can even, on a subtle level, sense your own gravitational force. The way that the core of your being holds together the extremities. The wholeness of you, even as you move about. From place to place. There's still this integrity maintained in your being. Allowing a sigh whenever you feel to, if you feel to. And very slowly, You might wish to release your upper leg. If you've had them crossed, you can draw that limb back towards the center and then return all of your other limbs to the center of your mat. Maybe you take another stretch, lengthening from heels to fingertips. And then reaching for your elbows, you might enjoy crossing your arms the opposite way this time. We can, in our own time, move one limb to the right and follow with that side of your upper body. You might take a breath or two to settle here and feel the natural curvature of the left side of your body. And then perhaps you might choose to cross your left leg over your right. Remembering that at all times during this practice, it is your choice how you move your body, what shapes you take on, and how you might like to support yourself to feel more at ease and present. There's no right or wrong, only the sensing of your inner knowing and following that intuitive guidance for how to unwind, release, and yield to the gravity of Earth. And at any point, if you feel tension that feels ready to be relaxed and released, you might like to use that sighing breath. There's an option if visualization is useful to you, to visualize the in-breath moving to the parts of your body which are holding that tension. And on that sighing out breath, to visualize the tension melting downward into the earth. Perhaps even on the in-breath, you're drawing the energy up from the earth, sending it down to that area of your body. And then on the out breath, releasing the energy from your body back down into the earth, taking the tension with it. And like this, there's a cycle of breath, energy, what in Sanskrit is referred to as prana, that moves from this great earth being into us, through us, and back out again into the environment to be transformed and shifted. And when you're ready, you could be releasing your left leg if it's been crossed over the right, drawing all limbs back to the center of your mat. Maybe taking a nice long stretch. Now, if it feels all right for you to come to a seated position, you could first roll to one side, maybe taking a moment here just to breathe, to notice the change in relationship to gravity, so that we're really present to that sense of gravity as we push up into our seat. So I invite you now to just get comfortable on your hips. And you have some options in this next shape, either to simply cross your foot to the opposite side of an extended leg, or if it feels accessible and easeful for your body, you can bring that extended leg also bent beside your opposite hip. Just beginning by feeling into the connectivity between the earth and your sits bones, those two bony protrusions under your pelvis. And you might even gently sway from side to side, forward or backward, or in little circular motions to find a centeredness over those sits bones. If it's a useful image to you, you could see in your mind's eye your spine and the stacking of your vertebrae in a natural S-curve over those sits bones. Perhaps even the lengthening of your neck and the softening of your shoulders. So as our pelvis grounds down with the heaviness of the earth element, our head, the crown of our head, counters that motion by reaching up to polarities present in our body in relationship to gravity. The yielding down into gravity and the lengthening up and away that can occur simultaneous to that yielding. And perhaps you just want to remain here, feeling those two polar points, the crown of your head and your pelvis. But if it feels good and right for you, gently turning toward your upper leg and maybe hooking the pit of your elbow around your knee. So I'm not emphasizing a really amplified twist here. It's simply finding a gentle lift and rotation that feels natural. And without over-efforting, perhaps encouraging your knee to come a little closer towards your armpit. It could be helpful here again to check into the lengthening of your neck. And if you like, to very gently turn your chin. Again, you're welcome to connect to that earth element through the breath, perhaps visualizing the energy drawing up from the earth into those areas of your body which feel ready to relax a little more. And then to use that sighing exhalation to flow the tension back down into the earth. Of course, if this visualization is not helpful to you, don't worry about it. Simply breathe in the way that feels most natural and easeful for your body. And with an awareness of earth element, of gravity, maybe checking in on your lower leg, noticing if it's settled into that sense of gravity fully. And if not, you might like to support that a little by relaxing and releasing through the breath, through gentle intention, whatever works for you. When you're ready, you can return. Maybe taking a short counter twist. And just noticing any sensation that flows through your body through that counter twist. And then we can relax and release our limbs forward once more. Maybe take a moment in this centered position to feel the left and the right sides of your body. Then when you're ready, you're welcome to cross the opposite direction, maybe drawing your other leg underneath if it feels good. And of course, using any props that could be helpful to you, pillows or blanket, to feel fully comfortable and grounded in this shape. And then perhaps sensing into your pelvis, sensing into the crown of your head, and feeling the lengthening between those 2 points. The pelvis yielding down into the earth with that force of gravity. And the crown of your head reaching away, using the weightiness of gravity to bound away. And then if it feels right for you, you might take that into the gentle twist, just tucking your elbow pit around your knee. No need to strain or strive in any way, but to gently lean into the enhanced sensation over time. Maybe it feels good to keep your head in neutral, or maybe it feels nice to gently turn your chin. And follow what your own body is telling you. Yoga as a system was not designed to teach us to repeat exactly what another person is telling us. It's a system of self-inquiry, which offers the opportunity to discover what is true for you. And if this looks different to what works for me, then I celebrate that and support you to follow that intuition. So experiment, see if it works to inhale that earth energy up through your body, maybe even along the back of your body, your spine rising up, flowing to the crown of your head and then cascading down the front of your body back into the earth. Maybe a different sense of flow or a different direction or visualization for your breath is better for you. You're welcome to try my offering, and you're welcome to change it. Perhaps there's a gentle encouragement of your knee towards your armpit. And perhaps there's an awareness of your lower leg being encouraged softly by gravity to yield and soften into the earth. And then when you feel ready, slowly unwinding, maybe taking a gentle turn in the opposite direction. Noticing how that shifts the flow of sensation. And you can relax and release that. Maybe again bringing your limbs out into a centered position, whatever that looks like for you. And feeling the left and the right sides of your body simultaneously. You might notice what has shifted or changed. Perhaps noticing what has remained the same. Both ends are welcome. Now we might bring ourselves into more of a kneeling position. And for many people, it can feel good to have a bit of blanket support under their legs for this, so that you can really get comfortable and soften through our shapes. I like to just fold my blanket a couple of times and then settle my shins here. Now, of course, Kneeling isn't accessible for everyone. This is where some of our household props can come in handy. It might be helpful to have a couple of pillows underneath you. You can kneel around them. You can also fold other blankets or even place some books under your hips in a similar way. Another place that the pillows can be handy for our next shape might be in front of you as somewhere to rest your forehead, because if your forehead doesn't come to the ground in an easeful way, we still want to be able to relax and release as much as possible into our shape. So that's an option for you as well. The invitation here will also be around the position of your arms, where if you come into a closed-kneed child shape, that is, our two knees are toward one another rather than apart, you can either have your hands resting palms up by your hips. You can use your arms to support your forehead also. Or if you'd like a new alternative, reaching elbow to elbow in a similar way as our lying side stretch, but behind you. And then I like to move into this really slowly and intentionally, peeling my belly down towards my thighs, moving spine vertebra by vertebra until your forehead rests either on your pillows or another prop or the ground. And feel free to move a few times to really get into a nice comfortable shape here. And then we can begin the work of a dialogue with gravity. And there's the gentle dance of breath in relationship to earth. And if you are using that sighing out breath, allowing your mouth to gently open, this can really facilitate the release of your jaw. Inviting your jaw to soften towards the ground with each exhalation. And as in yin, we're inviting our connective tissue, our fascia, to release in order to get into the deeper muscles, ligaments, and bony parts of our joints. It can be helpful to know that there's a very strong connective tissue or fascial link between our pelvis and our jaw. So that this relaxation of the jaw muscles, the muscles around our temporomandibular joint, or where our skull, jaw and neck all connect. This is in turn facilitating and communicating through our fascia, our connective tissue, the relaxation and the softening in our pelvis.
as this connective tissue releases and relaxes, our yin practice deepens into the joints of our body. Helping to remold, strengthen, and stretch over time. And so if you've had your arms connected behind your back, you might like to relax and release them down. And then we can all bring those same limbs to connect with the earth and just support us back into an upright position. So I'm going to invite a shape from this place which may need a little bit more prop support. Again, pillows or folded blankets, even books under your hips are really welcome in place of traditional yoga props like bolsters or blocks. If you don't require that to remain kneeling, you still may require some pillows to rest your forehead on. So I'm going to bring, I'll do that again. I'm just bringing one leg directly out to the side, placing my foot flat on the ground, perpendicular to the other leg. So I've got a 90-degree angle between this front foot and my inner thigh. I'm going to aim to bring my head at the 45-degree angle between those 2 points. And that's where I might have a pillow or even several pillows stacked to rest my forehead. So you could gently fold forward in your own time. And it might feel nice to have your hands on the ground here for a little bit more structural support. I also find it really comfortable to just tuck my elbows to the inside of each leg. Once you find a place that feels structurally sound and relatively easeful for you, maybe you anchor back into the deep breath work, using your sigh and even visualizing the in-breath drawing up from the earth and the out-breath enhancing our relationship to gravity. Exhaling into the earth, maybe feeling your body follow that exhalation. At any point, if you need to shift your props slightly to support maybe a greater yielding, you can. You might find with those out breaths, the pull of gravity becomes greater. Your muscles might release a little more. Allow yourself whatever range of motion feels natural, feels accessible and nourishing. And if the sensation is quite intense, you always have the option to bring more support under your body. Because we want to be at a level of sensation where it's still comfortable and safe feeling. That sense of safety within each shape is what sends the messages to our parasympathetic nervous system to relax, release, and repair. And this is why it's never necessary in yoga to push or strive or create any kind of unnecessary stress. Even when there might be some gentle positive stress on the body, helping our tissues to adapt and grow stronger. I really invite you to check in with your psychological stress levels and just make sure that we're remaining on that side of safer, comfortable, and willing. Maybe we are gently pressing back up, feeling in that push away from the ground, even how gravity is inviting our muscles to engage, to create resistance and strength. And taking a moment in that neutral shape to feel the difference between the left and the right side of your body. And then when you're ready, shifting your other foot perpendicular to the kneeling thigh and bringing whatever props you need into play to get really comfortable there. I'm folding one pillow over for some extra height because I know that this first stage of this shape for me just feels a little more challenging. So I'm going to place my hands down and get my elbows to the insides of my legs for that structural support. And once I feel like I'm in integrity with the shape, maybe using the sighing out breath to feel into the earth element, to the gravitational pull, the solidity and weightiness of my body as it yields towards the earth. And over time, with that gentle yielding, you might find there's a little bit more range of motion available to you. You can always rearrange your props if you need. And then when you're ready, rising back up. Maybe bringing your body back into that centered place. So I'm going to invite you to finish up in another version of child shape before we did our knees together. This time I'm going to invite you to bring your knees wide. And along with this practice, if it feels good, perhaps you'd like to join me in some mantra practice using a seed mantra. Ma, ma is the sound. And that is audible on the out breath, the exhalation. Ma is quite often one of the first syllables that's pronounced by children, and this is almost worldwide. If you listen to a lot of different cultures, many children are kind of creating this sound quite early on, along with a few other common syllable pronunciations. And I wonder if this is perhaps the reason why a lot of words for mother begin with those ma kind of noises. So for me, this mantra feels really relevant to use with the earth, and it's also quite often used in our yoga heritage with goddesses. So Ma Durga, Ma Kali, we have this mother energy associated with the earth beings and the Shakti, or the mother manifestation of material reality. So I will demonstrate first for you to get a sense of what's going to happen. And I'm just bringing myself down into this nice wide-kneed child shape, stretching my arms forward, lengthening my neck and settling forehead to the ground. And then using that gravitational release of my jaw that we were practicing earlier on, I'm going to articulate this seed mantra, projecting it down into the earth. It might look a little like this. So I'm taking a full deep inhalation, maybe even visualizing that energy drawing up from the earth into my body. And then on the exhalation, I'm making the seed sound ma, projecting it back down into the earth and allowing my whole body to relax as deeply as it can, and releasing my jaw down with gravity to allow the vibration to flow out and down into the earth. So we might practice that together if you feel to do so. Otherwise, you're welcome to just take on whatever relaxation shape feels good for you and to rest. And I'll invite this for a few moments before we settle into a full relaxation and silence. Just beginning when it feels good and right for you. Deep inhalation. Perhaps last one. And feeling that full gravitational release of your whole being. The connection points between your body and the earth. The density and groundedness of those points. And the way that they work in cooperation with the light, soft opening of the back of your body with each breath. Earth element and air element in a dance together, creating the structure of life. And so you're welcome to remain here if it's comfortable for you. Or if not, just coming into another relaxation shape so that we can settle into our own version of Shavasana to complete our practice. I'm just going to remain seated to hold space for these last few moments. And so as you soften back into the silence, you might like to contemplate your relationship with Earth. And just noticing how you feel both in your body your mind, your emotions, even your spiritual self, following an hour of cultivating that relationship. Perhaps it feels good for you to simply remain here in a restful state. You're very welcome. And if you're ready to get up and move on with your day, just take your time to bring gentle movement into your body slowly. And perhaps staying in connection with that awareness of gravity as you roll onto one side and as you press up into a seated position. If you'd like to join me in bringing your hands to heart center, now might be the time. Thank you so much for practicing alongside me. Thank you for being a fellow being on this earth, doing what you do. Your presence is so, so appreciated. Namaste.